Yo, what's happening, YouTube? Jesus TV, back with another video, and today we are going to be talking about Better Call Saul, the 8th episode of season 6. This next episode I'm going to be watching tomorrow is the last episode in the Better Call Saul storyline before Breaking Bad comes in, and then there's going to be a post Breaking Bad era of Better Call Saul in the last 3 episodes, or 10, 11, 12, 13, 4 episodes. But there's an opening, there's a main story. It's pretty distinct here in this episode. A lot of foreshadowing, of course, and I kind of knew what the opening scene meant. I mean, usually I don't know what it means exactly, but I kind of know now what it means. So, yeah. So in the opening, a shoe washes onto an ocean beach, and its mate lies nearby. So you kind of got to assume whose it is. Now, I'm not going to tell you if you you already watched the episode, but yeah. An open car door reveals classical music playing on the radio and a wallet and wedding band on the dashboard. So, yeah, I mean, at this point I already knew what this was and who this was and what was going on, because I knew they had to dispose of Howard. So that's why this is referring to what they did to Howard. The car's vanity license plate Namaste shows it to be Howard Hamlin's green Jaguar XJ8. So yeah, this is how they're gonna dispose of the body. They're kind of showing it in the opening scene. Yeah, and that's kind of what the show poster is. It's pretty cool. So in the main story, after killing Howard, Lalo Salamanca provides Jimmy McGill and Kim Wexler with an address and a loose description of Gus Fring, and instructs Jimmy to drive there and shoot him, because Gus Fring's not gonna know. Gus isn't going to know who Jimmy is, so when he shows up to his house, he's not going to be alarmed or anything. He's like, oh, it's just some stranger, maybe needs help or something. Jimmy convinces Lalo to send Kim instead. I think Gus kind of knows who Jimmy is, because if he's been paying attention to the Salamancas, Jimmy's the one that's been their main guy, right? So I feel like he somewhat knows who Jimmy is, but I don't know. After she leaves, Lalo ties Jimmy to a chair and tells him about the attack on his Mexico house. These guys came for him. Were you up to this? Maybe he wasn't, maybe he was, but were you up to this? Because, I mean, come on, man. Yeah. Jimmy vehemently denies any involvement and blames Nacho Varga, which it kind of was Nacho Varga's fault, but then again, Jimmy was involved with Nacho, so by default, he's pretty much involved in this situation. Lalo gags him and leaves, so now he's just kind of left tied up in this chair, so Lalo is going to hunt down Gus, which I'm assuming, yeah, that's kind of what he does when he leaves. So Mike Rimmenshot apprehends Kim at Gus's front door. She pulls the guns, getting ready to shoot, and Mike is there to pull her to the side, what are you doing here? Why are you doing this? Who put you up to this? Yeah. She explains that Lalo is holding Jimmy, then points out Gus's body double as matching the description Lalo provided. This is hilarious. And they kind of see this guy, and they're obviously it's not this guy. So they kind of know who they're targeting now. It was kind of a funny moment. I mean, obviously this is a very serious episode, and one of the best episodes in the series, if I'm going to be honest with you. But, they realize, yeah, she was going to kill Gus, which it's not her fault. She was held at gunpoint. Mike orders his men to her apartment to see, if Lalo is there, if they're in danger, any of that sort of thing. When Kim says Lalo agreed to let her switch places with Jimmy, Gus realizes the shooting attempt is a diversion, so he drives to La Bandera Brillante, which is where, obviously, the meth lab is. So he's wanting to coop up here, because, Lalo knows he's at his house now. Lalo is there intending to obtain video evidence for download audio of Gus's planned meth lab, which will provide Gus's disloyalty to the cartel, because Gus never told the cartel that he was going to do this meth super lab thing. So obviously he's probably going to die either by Lalo or by the cartel. I mean, that's what it seems like. Obviously he's in the Breaking Bad storyline, so that can't happen. Which kind of sucks. I probably should have watched this before the Breaking Bad storyline, but yeah. I should have, man. That was kind of dumb. That would have made this series a lot more of a shock to me. So, he ambushes Gus and kills his bodyguards, then forces Gus to show him the lab on video, and obviously Gus isn't going to, turn back because he doesn't want to die. He would rather have a chance with the cartel than just die directly by Lalo. Gus leads Lalo to the site, which Lalo describes for Eladio using details provided by Casper. Casper's the one that kind of told him where he would be, what he's doing. So Casper's pretty much a rat, but he would have died if he didn't, so I can't really blame him. Gus is very fucking savage. This is like one of the most savage things Gus has done, even with like Breaking Bad happening. Gus insults Eladio and the Salamancas as Lalo videotapes him, but his speech is a distraction that enables him to trigger a power outage that turns off the lights. It's kind of funny. I've never seen like Gus run before. He's like, oh yeah, you're a traitor. All of a sudden, he's like kicking the like cables out, all the lights go out. He's like running over to the forklift because there might have been a little bit of foreshadowing here because he hid the gun under that forklift wheel or the tread, whatever. If you guys don't remember that, and he's planning on killing Lalo, of course. In the darkness, he reaches the handgun he previously hid, then fires several shots at Lalo like the gun is empty, and there's kind of like a moment of suspense because we're like, oh shit, where's Lalo? Is he going to peek out of the corner? It's really effective. I mean, the cinematography and the whole Breaking Bad franchise is just second to none. It's amazing. After turning the lights on, Gus realizes that he is bleeding, while Lalo is fatally injured. Now, obviously, when you get shot and you're standing in the dark, you're not going to know you got shot because you don't see your blood. There's adrenaline rushing through your body. Adrenaline's pretty much like a painkiller, like a numbness that your body gives you to give you like energy, right? So, which is fucking insane that the body does that. I mean, Lalo laughs as he succumbs to his injuries and dies. It kind of reminds me of how like Walter White died at the end of Breaking Bad. I'm sorry if you haven't watched Breaking Bad and I just spoiled that for you, but you should probably predict, like, given where you're at in the show, that was going to happen. And anyways, this show happened after Breaking Bad, so you should have probably watched Breaking Bad by now. But yeah. So Jimmy and Kim are reunited at their apartments. Like, all is well with the world. They're unharmed. Now, Kim is like the last major character that we need to deal with before the Breaking Bad storyline comes on, because obviously she's not involved. So it's going to be interesting. I think something's going to happen to her in episode 9. Either she like moves out, like divorces Jimmy and leaves, or she gets killed by somebody. I want to say she's going to like move away from Jimmy. I don't think they're going to kill Kim. I don't know. Mike tells them Lalo will not return, and his men remove Howard's body. Like, rest assured, Lalo is taken care of. He's officially dead now. Like, he's actually dead. So, yeah. Mike explains that Howard's death will be made to look like a suicide by drowning and instructs them to maintain their ruse that Howard was a cocaine addict, which will make the story more plausible. Mike used this because obviously they've been out to get Howard for so long, and this is kind of like the excuse they've used. Like, he's a cocaine addict, he does coke, he's not really that professional. So now Mike is like, well, let's put that into action here and make the public really believe it. I gave them a believable cause. As Gus's wound is treated at his home, Mike supervises the burial of Howard and Lalo in a shared grave beneath the meth lab, but first removes Howard's shoes, wallet, and wedding ring to obviously put it in the car and make it look like he took his shoes off and shit and he like died in the water. If his car was just there, they would have been like, there's no fucking way. Because he wouldn't have took his he wouldn't have went in there with his shoes and all that shit. That wouldn't have happened. Yeah, now we know, I think now we know that under the meth lab is Lalo and Howard's bodies, which is kind of crazy. But let's get into the critical reception here. Point and shoot, obviously critical acclaim. Very big episode in the series, very pivotal moments. 5 out of 5 on The Guardian, 4 out of 5 on The Vulture. The Vulture gave it a 4 out of 5. Den of Geek, The Daily Telegraph. It got an A grade on the AV Club and on IndieWire, Entertainment Weekly. So a lot of people liked it. Crew members that were, big crew members. Vince Gilligan directed this episode. I'm not sure how much of the series he has directed, but he did direct this episode. Gordon Smith wrote the episode. The cinematography by Paul Donache. The cast members, Tony Dalton playing Lalo, Giancarlo Esposito playing Gus. A lot of great performances here. Jonathan Banks playing Mike, Bob Odenkirk playing Jimmy, Rhea Seehorn playing Kim. Very, very cool opening scene. And obviously, we have to bring up Rotten Tomatoes. 100%, 13 reviews, 9.5 out of 10. Point and shoot. Holy shit. Point and shoot aims Better Call Saul towards an endgame and launches it forward at full throttle, sunsetting a fan favorite with fitting style while setting the stage for an agonizingly suspenseful home stretch. The series' ability to kind of like create suspense in a story where certain characters are predetermined to survive is kind of cool. Yeah, I mean we got Breaking Bad before this, so like some of the characters were like, yeah, they're going to survive because they're in Breaking Bad, of course, and this is like a prelude. The scene where like Jimmy convinces Lalo to send Kim in his place, it's like a masterclass moment for the series in general, and Odenkirk is an actor in particular. That was like a big moment for him, I feel like. The episode pulses with nocturnal suspense, your reward after several hours of carefully constructed plot. Gus and Lalo's confrontation, definitely a high point here. Gus's invective about the Salamancas was reminiscent of the scene in True Romance from 1993, where Dennis Hopper's character uses his last words to insult his executioner. Gus's decision to hide a gun under the excavator